A good-natured girl was surrounded by a group of rich kids. They were driving around her, teasing her, and swerving the car, putting her in danger. Just a little slip up, and that girl could have lost her life. The more the girl screamed, the more excited they got, while the people around didn't dare to help her. They were the notorious group of 5, known for being cruel in the area. It was only when they saw the girl was about to pee her pants that they got out of the car, looking unconcerned. The rich girl took her milk teacup and dumped it on the girl's head. The parents standing around watching didn't say anything. As long as their kids were having fun, it was fine. You could say, kids are a reflection of their parents. People often say a cornered dog will bite, and the bullied girl's name was Meera. Later, she would get revenge on them 10 times over. Meera was originally a mountain girl, tasked with guiding a group of climbers down the mountain. Because a storm was coming, they had to retreat as quickly as possible. But this very rescue mission would throw Meera's peaceful life completely into darkness. That climbing group was a bunch of rich and powerful people. Not only did they ignore her words like they were nothing, but the spoiled brat leading them took a liking to Meera. Without a word, he rushed over and hugged her. Luckily, Meera's boyfriend was there. Seeing her boyfriend protect Meera, those guys mocked him for not playing fair and said they weren't afraid of anything. Seeing how shameless they were, Meera's boyfriend was about to teach them a lesson. But she stopped him in time, because the most important thing at that moment was to lead them down the mountain. But Meera didn't know that they had run into the notorious group of 5, famous for being bad in the area, each one arrogant and cruel. Meera kindly led them down the mountain, but 3 men in the group secretly separated her boyfriend and started beating him brutally, wanting to keep him on the mountain. At the same time, Meera couldn't find her boyfriend and could only pray for his safety. The 2 rich girls threw bugs on Meera. Growing up, she'd seen all kinds of bugs, so she wasn't scared at all. When the storm hit, lightning struck, and the rich girl pushed Meera, causing her to fall into a tree that had been struck by lightning. A branch pierced straight through her leg, and the pain was so bad, it felt like it ripped through the whole forest. Somewhere else, the rich kid was no match for Meera's boyfriend. Hearing his girlfriend's cry for help, he rushed over to Meera. Her leg was pierced by a branch, and the pain made it hard for her to breathe. To save her life, she asked her boyfriend to get her some strange, glowing purple flowers. She felt a faint light coming from those flowers. When she crushed the petals and put them on the wound, a purple light flashed, followed by a pain even more terrible than before. But when she removed the petals, the huge, gaping wound had miraculously healed. The next day, after the storm passed, they hurried back to the forest from yesterday and found those strange, glowing purple flowers. At first, her family didn't believe it, but a young boy who was with them was bitten by a snake. Meera took a leaf and applied it, and the miracle happened again. The bite not only stopped hurting but also healed as if nothing had happened. So, they picked a bunch and took them home. Meera's selfish younger sister started to have bad intentions. If this flower was so miraculous, they should turn it into a tool for making money. They could open a pharmaceutical company, like this man, who was said to have invented a medicine where just 1 drop could cure all diseases. She encouraged Meera, who had a knack for researching medicine, to experiment with this flower. If it was successful, they wouldn't have to live in their leaky house anymore. Meera started researching and swallowed a petal while her body was completely healthy. She dreamed of a woman in white. The woman said that Meera was her next successor and would have to go through many unpredictable things. When Meera wanted to get a clear look at the woman's face, suddenly a white light flashed, and the woman disappeared. It turned out she had climbed onto the roof without realizing it. Her father's call startled her, and she fell. But luckily her boyfriend caught her. Her family was very worried, thinking she was possessed. After questioning her, they found out she had eaten the purple petal. Her grandmother strictly forbade her from continuing to research this strange thing, believing it could be poisonous. Meera was forced to stop, but not long after, her father had an accident and had to be hospitalized, needing a large sum of money for surgery. This made her family, which was already struggling, even more desperate. Her boyfriend suggested using the purple flower to heal her father, but Meera refused. Because the last time she had almost gone crazy because of it, she couldn't let her father be in danger again. In her time of need, Meera dreamed that she went into the forest and met the mountain god from the legends. The mountain god said she would always protect her. She woke up to her sister's call, but she still felt like it wasn't a dream. She was about to leave the mountain to work in the city, to earn money for her father's treatment. Before leaving, she took a datura plant with her. Meera's first job in the city was washing hair for customers at a hair salon. The owner reminded her not to upset the customers. Meera was also very focused on her work, But ironically, her first customer was the rich girl from before. She looked annoyed, but since she didn't have time, she had to let Meera wash her hair. Because it was Meera's first time, her movements were a bit slow, and the rich girl scolded her harshly. With great difficulty, she finally got the customer to lie down. But then she couldn't control the water temperature, scalding her and making her scream. When it was time to rinse out the shampoo, she used too much force, causing the shampoo to splash all over the girl's face. Her elaborate makeup was ruined, and she flew into a rage, trying to slap Meera, but instead grabbed the salon owner's hair and wouldn't let go. As a result, Meera was fired on her very first day. With her boyfriend's help, Meera found a new job as a cleaner at a school. This was also the lowest paying job in the school. She was also told by her colleagues that there were 5 troublemaking students in the school, known as the Crazy Five. Meera didn't expect to run into them again. It seemed like they had some kind of destined, karmic connection. The rich girl still held a grudge about the hair washing incident, which is why the scene at the beginning of the story happened. She had pushed Meera into the black mud and insulted her. Meera had already apologized to her, but they still wouldn't let her go. They were the same age, but because of their different family backgrounds, Meera had to work hard. While the rich girl partied at university, seeing his daughter bullying others, her father remained indifferent. Circumstances forced Meera to lower her head, because she had no one to rely on. In her free time, she secretly listened in on lectures, sometimes unable to control herself, and answering the professor's questions. When she was discovered, she could only leave in shame, which made the rich girl angry. And she deliberately mocked her, accidentally revealing her own identity. It turned out that she was the daughter of a famous medical doctor, the very person her sister had mentioned. Because Meera had stolen the spotlight in a class that wasn't hers, the rich girl decided to teach her a lesson, but ended up hurting herself. It was clear that she had fallen on her own, but she used her family's influence to force Meera to apologize and get her fired. Unexpectedly, the professor spoke up to defend Meera, because he had witnessed the whole thing. Finally, the rich girl was forced to leave due to pressure from the professor. However, after class, she went to the bathroom to find Meera, grabbed her hair, and pushed her head into the bucket of water used for washing mops, constantly insulting her family. Meera was choking on the water and could only fight back. She turned the tables and pushed the rich girl's head into the water. Finally, Meera had to crawl out of the bathroom. Next, she was slapped repeatedly by them. Meera was no pushover either. She pinned her down and retaliated. The scene was utter chaos, until a group of curious people showed up and intervened. But the person who arrived was the rich girl's older brother, Seb. He pulled Meera out of the crowd, pretending to comfort her, but actually groping her. He was even more despicable than his sister. Seeing school officials appear, the rich girl started to falsely accuse the cleaner of attacking her. Everyone around could testify for Meera. Therefore, both of them were taken to the principal's office. Both of their parents had arrived. But only Meera had no one beside her, because her mother had passed away, and her father had just had surgery. The rich girl pointed at Meera and said that she had hit her. Her father couldn't believe it, that a poor cleaner dared to hit his daughter. He roared, demanding that Meera say her father's name and address. But when Meera said her father's name and address, he was stunned. It turned out that Meera was the daughter of his old friend. However, he didn't acknowledge the acquaintance. He sat down next to Meera and asked her what had happened. Meera recounted that she had hit her first, and she was only acting in self-defense. The man then said, "You should know that this job is very important to you. Losing it means you'll lose your income. Today, you were wrong first. You shouldn't have hit my daughter. I want you to apologize to my daughter immediately and post an apology online." The daughter still wasn't satisfied. She suggested that her father fire Meera to punish her. But the father said, "Don't you understand? With your status, you shouldn't let these things bother you. We should help the poor, shouldn't we?" His daughter understood his meaning. His methods were 100 times crueler than hers. The reason he was doing this was just for show. After all, he was a public figure. Meera bowed her head and apologized to both of them. But they slapped her across the face. They said they wouldn't let her go. Hearing that her sister was being bullied, Meera's younger sister was furious. She believed that if you're bullied, you should fight back. Fight until they're scared. She looked down on her sister's meekness, because now she was earning more money than her sister, and could even send money home. It turned out that to pay off debts, Meera's younger sister had become a hostess at a bar, through a friend's introduction. Because of the high competition, she had stolen many customers from others. However, when another woman scolded her a few times, she threw a bowl of boiling water in the woman's face. and then proceeded to beat her relentlessly, making her scream in agony. Perhaps this was the true face of the common folk. Her boyfriend advised Meera to quit her job and find a new one. After all, getting beaten up every day wasn't a good thing. So, early the next morning, they went to the employment agency, but the person in charge told them that because her contract hadn't expired, quitting suddenly would affect her future job prospects. Moreover, within a month, she had quit 2 jobs and would be blacklisted by the agency, meaning it would be very difficult to find work later. The only way was for her to persevere until the contract ended. Meera was worried that if she was unemployed, she wouldn't be able to pay off the debt, and her father would be kicked out of the house. She couldn't let that happen. So she optimistically said that she would persevere. But while she was working with the injuries on her body, she saw a picture of her deceased mother. When she was alive, her mother was the top student at this university. But for some reason, she got married, had children, and gave up her studies. To make up for her mother's unfulfilled dream, she had once promised to get into this university and fulfill her mother's dream of healing and helping people. But ironically, she had lost the opportunity to go to school very early on, and now she was here as a cleaner. That was also one reason why Meera was determined to stay at the school. One day, the female medical professor at the school accidentally cut her hand. Meera kindly took a datura petal, which she had brought from home, and applied it to the professor's cut. Although she didn't know what kind of leaf it was, the professor still thanked her for her kindness. She also understood that this girl named Meera really enjoyed listening to her lectures. The sparkling clean hallway outside her classroom was proof of that. Seeing that Meera was so interested in medicine, the professor asked for her mother's name after class. This question brought a surprise to her. It turned out that Meera's mother had been her best friend. The reason she chose medicine was also because she was influenced by Meera's mother. They shared a common dream of helping more people. Hearing that the professor was a friend of her mother's, Meera asked her about the professional questions she had been wondering about. The intimate conversation between the two was seen by the rich girl. She hated Meera with a passion, because the professor had chosen a cleaner over her as a mentee. She angrily said that she would inherit her father's company and become the next chairman. But right now she really needed the professor's guidance. She had to achieve excellent results and graduate smoothly, because the professor was a pharmacist that her father greatly respected. If she had her help, her father would trust her even more. However, the professor flatly refused. She believed that this girl was too malicious, and not someone with a heart for medicine. But the rich girl believed that Meera had stolen the professor's attention from her. So she decided to team up with her 4 friends to get revenge on Meera and get her kicked out of school. Meanwhile, Meera had made an essential oil that she could sell, following the professor's advice, and earned her first bit of money. But every time she met the rich girl, Meera encountered bad luck. This time she used a cruel punishment on Meera. Her friends searched Meera's bag. While she ripped up the medical notebook that she cherished most, Meera screamed, asking why they wouldn't leave her alone. She had already apologized. She said, "What do you want the professor to teach you? You're so ambitious." She wanted to run, but they held her back. It was truly hopeless. Just then, her boyfriend came to pick her up, but the security guard wouldn't let him in. He could only wait for Meera to finish work outside, not knowing that a horrific scene was unfolding inside. They had put Meera's hand in a blender. Only if she agreed to quit her job would they perhaps let her go. This is the despair of so many bullying victims. Meera was bullied by them at school, and she filed a police report against them. She thought the police were a place of fairness, but she didn't expect that the police chief was the father of one of them. Everyone who saw him cowered and trembled. Meera shed tears of despair.
The bald police chief used money and power to persuade her to withdraw the complaint, because the rich girl's family was very influential in the area.
It was his own son who had put Meera's hand in the blender, and another one was the principal's only son. They were all connected in some way, either a niece or a nephew. If Meera quietly left, she would be compensated. But if she didn't withdraw the complaint, they would charge her with slander, defamation, and ruin her life. Meera's boyfriend was furious and wanted to eliminate them. He swore to punish these villains, and so refused the bald police chief's offer. But he was threatened. The cruel police chief patted Meera's injured arm, threatening to charge her with obstructing an officer and take her to get stitched up. Seeing that the police chief was about to get angry, his subordinate suggested that he deal with this small matter. But before the man could say anything, Meera wanted to leave, because she was truly terrified. Both of them returned home in despair and fear. They had no money, and they didn't even know anyone. But even after returning home, Meera's boyfriend couldn't calm down. He believed that Meera should fight them to the end. not give up like this. Meera helplessly said, "They have money and power. With our current strength, we can't possibly win. Moreover, I have to earn money to treat my father's illness. I have to endure." Just then, her grandmother appeared. It turned out that she was worried about her and had come to the city to replace her father. Seeing Meera badly injured, she was heartbroken and could only comfort her. Her sister also rushed back and learned that her sister was still being bullied. Both of them advised her to quit her job at the school, but Meera wanted to persevere for a while longer. She said she wanted to work until the end of her contract, but her sister realized that the reason she wanted to stay was because of her deceased mother. It was her constant concessions that led to the later family tragedy. The next day, she still went to work as a cleaner as usual, but the rich girl, seeing that she hadn't quit, threw a plate of leftover food in her face. The principal's son added a kick, sending Meera sprawling to the ground. She lay there helplessly, letting her colleague clean her up. She had tried to stay away from them for her own sake. But why wouldn't they leave her alone? After work, she was patted on the shoulder by the police chief's son. They pinned her to a table and wanted to burn her hand. Meera desperately struggled, stomped on the guy's foot, and ran away. But she ran into Seb, the man who always lusted after her. He locked her in a room and said, "You should give up resisting and leave on your own. Otherwise, the consequences are not something you can imagine. Remember, don't come tomorrow." Meera desperately cried for help and finally managed to get a colleague to come. Her colleague helplessly asked her, "Do you want to continue like this? Even if you use this herb regularly, you can't erase these wounds forever. Eventually, you'll go crazy." Meera cried and said that she would leave. She really couldn't take it anymore. She started printing resumes again, hoping she wouldn't be unemployed and would soon find a new job. Her sister was not happy. She didn't want to bear the debt alone. A gossipy salesman told her about a good job. He had bought a real gold necklace thanks to this job. So, they went to that workplace together. At this time, Meera's boyfriend also arrived at the gate. It turned out that his father, an alcoholic, had also come to the city to work and was working as a security guard for a wealthy family. The father asked his son if he was suitable for a security guard job. Meera's boyfriend couldn't bear to disappoint him, but still advised him to leave this place, because this was the home of the Porsche family. After that, Seb, Porsche's brother, appeared. The two had an immediate antagonistic attitude towards each other. Meera's boyfriend wanted to hit him, and Seb also disliked him. So he openly insulted his father. He deliberately stepped in mud with his shoe, and then ordered his father to kneel down and clean his shoe with his sleeve. Meera's boyfriend couldn't let his father be insulted like that. He pushed Seb away, because his father urged him to leave quickly. He could only shout a few insults at Seb and then hurriedly left. Inside the villa, a rehearsal was underway for the launch event of the Porsche family's new medicine. Meera and her two friends had sneaked in and witnessed the whole thing. Meera's boyfriend ran over, anxiously urging them to leave this dog-eat-dog place. But Meera's sister didn't want to go, because she also wanted to earn money to buy a gold necklace. At this moment, Seb was singing and dancing on stage. His father was extremely disappointed. Porsche was also embarrassed and left, but she accidentally overheard a conversation between employees, learning that her father's company was in trouble. Recently, several newly launched products had suspiciously low profits, and many people had lost faith in the brand. Where was the problem? At this point, Meera discovered that the high-paying job the salesman had mentioned was actually being a test subject for the Porsche family's medicines. They were paying people to act, taking advantage of actors to lie and advertise their low-quality products. While she was thinking, a man wearing a black hat suddenly burst in. He said that his son had taken their medicine and died. "My son died unjustly. I want you to pay." Porsche's father took out a checkbook and wrote a few lines. He wanted to use money to get rid of him, but the man refused. He stabbed Porsche's father and kidnapped his daughter. "I want you to taste the pain of losing a child." Porsche's parents were extremely panicked when their daughter was kidnapped. They screamed in agony. Initially, the man was successful, but because Meera interfered, he was distracted, and tragedy struck. The man died a gruesome death. Meera's boyfriend's father became a hero. He had saved the entire Porsche family. Faced with the praise of his employer, he was both scared and proud. Seb was also injured but lay motionless on the ground, ignored. Their parents only cared about their daughter. The man comforted his two children, telling them not to be afraid. As business people, you must learn to be ruthless and always be ready to face anything. Porsche said that not only was she not afraid, but she also promised in front of her father that she would research a new medicine to repay his kindness. The man was very happy to have such a daughter, while Seb, the son, was treated like garbage. The bald police chief also rushed to the scene. The man said that he would, as always, give him a sum of money to resolve this matter cleanly. That's why the bald police chief liked the Porsche family, because they were very wealthy and generous. He told his son to continue to get close to Porsche, but his son said that he was a good student and could easily graduate and find a job he wanted without relying on Porsche. But the father didn't think so. You eat my food, wear my clothes, and now you dare to disobey me? Then I'll cut off your allowance. Remember that I'm the father who loves you most in this world. His son could only leave in silence. The bald police chief was extremely angry. As Meera left, she accidentally overheard their conversation. It turned out that this wasn't the first time they had killed someone. Every time, they had resolved it very cleanly, but this time there was a slip-up. At the same time, Meera's boyfriend's father still didn't listen to his son's advice, determined to stay and work to earn money. Back at school, Meera was haunted by the man's death. She felt like she had indirectly killed him. An innocent person. The mountain god appeared in her dream again and said that it wasn't her fault, everything was predetermined. Everyone has to die, it's just a matter of time. Meera sobbed until her colleague woke her up. She realized it was just a dream. But disaster struck again. The principal's son was caught by Porsche hiding stuff on him, and she also saw him coming out of the principal's office. When he left the bathroom, he accidentally bumped into the old cleaner, and he dropped a packet of stuff. A few hours later, someone reported finding stuff in the bathroom. So the principal wanted to investigate. His son was extremely panicked because a packet of his stuff was actually missing. To avoid being found, he planned to move the stuff, but it was too late. Therefore, Porsche suggested framing someone else. Seb said, "Why don't we put it in the old cleaner's locker? He always shows up when we're doing bad things. Sooner or later, he'll report us. Better to kill by mistake than to let it go." The old cleaner was celebrating his birthday with everyone. It turned out that everyone here had been bullied by the group of 5, but to earn money to eat, they all had to endure. The old man was the longest working employee. He had to work hard every day to raise his 2 orphan grandchildren. But disaster still struck him. The principal waited for the old man in the storage room and forced him to open his locker. The old man refused. The principal's son suggested prying it open, and sure enough, the stuff was hidden in the old man's locker. The old man trembled, saying that he hadn't touched those things, that he was framed. But the life of the poor is cruel. They took the old man away. This year was his last year working. After that, he would retire. Seeing the old man arrested, the other 4 laughed triumphantly. Everyone realized something was wrong. The old man was always kind and didn't have any bad habits. Someone must have framed him. At this point, Meera stood up. Cleaners have the right to clean every corner of the school, so they could use this to hide cameras everywhere, secretly filming evidence, and then posting it online to expose the evil deeds of the group of 5. By then, even the police couldn't cover up the truth. Meera had recorded the entire process of Porsche stealing other people's plans. Every time, she used tricks to achieve success. Next were the principal and the son of the bald police chief. They physically punished a student in broad daylight, constantly insulting and beating the boy. In a chance encounter, while replacing the old man cleaning the principal's office, Meera recorded them hiding the stuff. She even brought that evidence to the principal and demanded that he go to the police to bail out the old cleaner. The principal was furious that his son had been caught red-handed, but he couldn't do anything. This quickly reached Porsche's parents. At this time, the group of devils was having fun at the pool when their parents scolded them harshly, demanding that they immediately resolve these troublesome matters. Porsche wanted to tear Meera to pieces because her father had said that Meera had done all of this. One day, Meera's boyfriend saw her enter a large house, but then disaster struck. This is the most brutal bullying I've ever seen. To punish the poor girl, the rich girl brought a ferocious wolf, wanting to tear her fair skin. Meera was terrified. But then something strange happened. A gentle breeze blew, and everything became strangely quiet. The ferocious wolf suddenly approached Meera and rubbed against her, as if fawning over her. Then, it lay quietly in her arms for a long time, refusing to leave. Porsche angrily shouted, "You idiots, you brought me a useless dog." She felt her intelligence had been insulted. Before long, they continued their cruel game. The devils wanted to see how long Meera could survive. They sent Porsche's brother and the son of the bald police chief to catch poisonous snakes. Seeing that only 2 girls were left, Meera secretly untied herself She planned to take the opportunity to escape, but Porsche pulled her back. They fought again, but in the end, Meera still lost, because there were 3 of them. Porsche picked up scissors and started cutting Meera's long hair. As she cut the hair, she slapped Meera's face. The more Meera resisted, the more ruthlessly she acted. After half an hour, they brought a sack and a wooden crate. They threw Meera inside the crate and locked it. Inside were many venomous snakes. Meera woke up in the crate. She was so scared she couldn't breathe. She prayed to the goddess in her heart to help her. Maria appeared again. Meera said that she couldn't take it anymore. She didn't know what to do. Maria gently comforted her, advising her to be strong, because there was something stronger than them. Then, Maria gave her a bunch of datura flowers, glowing with a purple light. To provoke the snakes to attack, Porsche kicked the crate a few times but didn't hear anything. She was eager to see Meera dead, so she opened the crate without paying attention to her brother's advice. As a result, what goes around comes around. Each of them was bitten by a snake. Only Meera was unharmed. Because they were venomous snakes, all 4 of them screamed in agony. If no one saved them, they would die immediately. They screamed for help. Meera could have taken this opportunity to escape, but she stopped. Her mother had taught her that if she saw someone in danger, she should help them. To be kind to everyone, that was the value of a healer. But her mother only taught her to be kind to everyone, never how to deal with evil people. She went back, and surprisingly, she used the datura flowers she brought from home to treat Porsche. And then the others. Her kind act was met with curses from them. They thought she was plotting to kill them. Hearing their agonizing screams, Meera knew the herb was working. Indeed, they regained their vitality. They didn't understand why Meera saved them instead of killing them. They said they were very grateful to her.
Meera didn't say the reason. She just screamed at them to stay away from her, that she hated them, and then stumbled away.
Her kindness didn't make them repent. Instead, they retaliated against her even more cruelly. Seeing Meera run away, they chased after her. They were afraid she would report them, so they wanted to continue to imprison her. Meera didn't know how far she had run. Finally, she fainted on the road and was found by her boyfriend and sister. They rushed her home. Her father, who had come from the countryside, saw his daughter injured and was heartbroken. Her head was bald in a large area and bleeding profusely. Her boyfriend wanted to take revenge for her. Her father asked who had done this to his daughter. Meera cried and stopped them. At this moment, she just wanted to go home, to get away from all the trouble. But ever since she revealed the datura flower, her life had been shrouded in darkness. Porsche wanted to take over the company, so she took the petals from her wound and gave them to the company's pharmacist for testing. The results showed that this flower had miraculous effects, with many uses. If they could collect a large quantity, she could expand the company's business into the beauty industry. If she could do that, her father would immediately hand over the chairman position to her. Porsche was ecstatic. Meera's family planned to return to the countryside, but they couldn't find her father. It turned out that he had stormed into the boardroom and confronted them, asking why they wouldn't stop harming Meera. Porsche's father denied it. He said he didn't know what had happened. Porsche said that Meera deserved it. Meera's father scolded her, calling her a beast, uneducated, and that sooner or later she would be punished by heaven. The boardroom became tense. Everyone suggested throwing Meera's father out, but Porsche's father promised to handle the matter. He knew that he needed Meera's family, so, for the sake of their long friendship, he wanted to help them improve their lives, and asked him not to make a fuss. Just then, Meera, worried about her father, also arrived. She removed her headscarf, revealing the wounds all over her head. But Porsche's father was someone who had experienced many evil things. To him, this was just a small matter, nothing surprising. He invited them to sit down and talk. "My daughter has harmed your daughter. I am willing to compensate you. Tell me, how much do you want? I know you have a miraculous herb. If you provide it to us, I will pay you a large sum of money." Meera didn't know what to do at this point. Her father advised her to take the money. After all, it was the compensation they deserved. Her boyfriend also signaled her to agree. He had been beaten terribly by them. But Meera remembered the death of the innocent man. She took the check and tore it up. She understood that if she took the money, they would treat her even more cruelly in the future. Moreover, the wounds she had suffered could not be compensated with money. Porsche's father thought Meera was being unreasonable. He spat on her. Meera slapped him back. The two families started fighting again, yelling and cursing. If Meera hadn't saved them, it wouldn't have come to this. When Meera's family left, Porsche received a call. It turned out that someone had found the miraculous flower. The man sent a picture to Porsche and wanted a large sum of money. The two negotiated over the phone for a long time, but in the end, they couldn't agree on a price. Porsche only agreed to pay him $250,000. Because she already knew the specific location, she didn't need him anymore. Returning to the countryside, due to the constant bullying, Meera had developed some psychological problems. She also dreamed of countless miraculous petals flying in the wind. The mountain god seemed to be beckoning her, telling her to save them. Indeed, the next day when she went there, the entire field of flowers was withered, losing its former vitality. At this moment, Porsche was presenting her achievements to her parents. If they could bring back all the miraculous flowers, the company could conduct new research. But the assistant suddenly ran in with bad news. Overnight, all the flowers had died. The old man blamed everything on his daughter. If she didn't quickly make up for it, he would kick her out of the company forever. At the same time, he received a call from the flower finder. It turned out that the man wanted to punish Porsche for breaking her promise. So he went to the mountain and sprayed herbicide. Porsche was furious. It seemed her plan had failed. Meera's younger sister, Rose, when she found out that the miraculous flowers had been destroyed, regretted that their dream of getting rich had vanished into thin air. But Meera suddenly brought out a potted flower. It was blooming, radiating a brilliant light. But this movie is almost entirely full of bad people. Rose arranged to meet Porsche and said that she still had the miraculous flower in her possession. To get it, she had to pay a corresponding price. In other words, as long as there was enough money, it was fine. While they were talking, Porsche received a call. Rose regretted not discussing it with her sister first and hurried away. She didn't know that a disaster was about to befall this poor family. Meera, who didn't know that the secret of the datura flower had been revealed, was on a date with her boyfriend by the river in their hometown. She naively thought that returning to the countryside would keep her away from all the trouble. But ever since the secret of the datura flower was revealed, her life was destined to encounter disaster. Her sister returned home and couldn't find her, so she went with her grandmother to pick herbs. Only the father, who hadn't recovered, remained at home. Just then, the two devils came looking. As soon as they met, they asked where the datura flower was. Hearing that the flower was at Meera's house, her father, because his daughter had been constantly bullied, hated these two beasts, so he cursed and chased them away. But Porsche, who had always been spoiled since childhood, couldn't stand this insult. She once again attacked a sick person. To get the miraculous flower, she raised a hammer and finished Meera's father in broad daylight. When Meera returned, she only saw the flames burning fiercely. The villagers around were shouting and trying to put out the fire. Meera sobbed, because the house was her childhood memory. Everyone was focused on putting out the fire. No one realized that inside, there was a seriously injured father. He was bleeding profusely but still managed to wake up and cry for help. Meera's sister, standing outside, heard her father's call, and only then did people realize there was someone inside. The father, knowing he was about to die, used his last breath to protect the books his daughter loved until the roof beam collapsed on him. Only when the poor father lost consciousness did Alex rush into the fire and carry him out. When he was carried out, the father's entire body was covered in burns. The flesh charred black. Meera cried and applied the miraculous flower to her father's body, but she didn't know that her father had a head injury, that Porsche had hit him with a hammer, creating a large hole, causing continuous bleeding that exhausted him. He looked at his daughter one last time and then passed away tragically. Alex suddenly saw a person in black sneaking away. He chased after them and fought with that person. He wanted to catch that person to give to Meera, but in the end, he only managed to snatch a brooch. He blamed himself greatly. The local police quickly investigated, but after many days of investigation, there were no useful clues. But an elderly villager had seen two women running out of the burning house in a panic that afternoon. But because he had no proof, he didn't dare to say anything. The murderer was leisurely eating breakfast at home. Her father told her that Meera's father had passed away last night. Porsche pretended to be sad, but Meera was not reconciled. She felt that her father's death was suspicious, so she invited a medical examiner to perform an autopsy. The results showed that his head had been fractured by a hard object. This was the cause of his death. Meera thought carefully. Her father was always kind, had no enemies. Perhaps all this was a disaster brought about by the datura flower. She didn't understand that it wasn't because of the flower, but because of her excessive naivety. Meera's boyfriend told her that last night, he had snatched a brooch from the person in black. It had the Porsche family's emblem on it. At this point, Rose, Meera's sister, understood that she had indirectly caused her father's death. If she hadn't told Porsche that her sister still had a datura flower, they wouldn't have come and finished her father. Regret was too late. A father with two daughters like that was truly pitiful. One too kind, one selfish and blinded by money. Meera wanted to hold a proper funeral for her father, to quietly send him off on his final journey. But there were always people who wouldn't leave her alone. The Porsche family drove a luxury car to the funeral, and brought a wreath made of fresh flowers to pay their respects to Meera's father. The villagers saw this and were jealous, thinking that her family knew some big shots. But only the two sisters knew that they definitely didn't have good intentions, that they were certainly there to insult her father. Seeing their hypocrisy, Rose chased them away. Porsche said, "We've come here out of respect, don't be unreasonable." Her father also pretended to say that he had come to pay his respects to an old friend. Meera couldn't take it anymore. She shouted, "Murderers, I won't let you go. Get out of my father's funeral immediately." Porsche's father approached Meera and whispered to her, "Looks like I've given you too much face today. Don't be unreasonable." Suddenly, the female medical professor from the school appeared and told them not to cause trouble here anymore. No one welcomed them. Meera also shouted and threw their things away. The Porsche family left amid everyone's criticism. Witnessing her friend's passing, Alex's mother cried bitterly, because it was her husband who had set fire to Meera's house. On the day of the incident, he went with Porsche to the village to find someone. Halfway there, Porsche ran out from the village entrance in a panic and said that someone was bullying her. So he had finished that person. She asked the driver to help her cover it up by setting fire to the victim's house and faking a fire. Alex's father, out of responsibility and also for money, accepted the black clothes that Porsche gave him, sneaked into Meera's house in the dark, then poured gasoline all over the house and set it on fire. But when the fire blazed up, he heard cries for help from inside. Meera's father was still alive. He could have saved him, but the fire was too big and had caught onto his clothes. In the end, he could only run away. Alex's mother knew that her son and Meera had been in love for many years, but she still prevented her husband from turning himself in. She didn't want her family to be broken. She had two sons to raise. They had already lost a daughter before. So the two of them chose to hide the truth. After the funeral ended, a fatal blow struck Meera. If the Porsche family didn't launch a new product, they would soon go bankrupt. Many medicines were returned, and the assistant was scolded daily. Just then, a man called and said that he still had datura flowers in his possession, but wouldn't sell them to them. He wanted revenge for being cheated by them. But the person who answered the phone was Porsche's father. He just learned that his daughter was the reason the datura flowers were destroyed, just because she wouldn't pay a higher price, forcing the flower finder to take action. He wanted to strangle this stupid daughter and gave her an ultimatum, forcing her to find new datura flowers at all costs. So, Porsche targeted Meera again, but this time, her father didn't trust her and gave the opportunity to Seb, his son. "If you can do it, I'll acknowledge you." Seb agreed and turned to his sister for help. The two siblings would work together to help the company overcome the crisis. Since losing her father, Meera had become indifferent to everything, to the point that she didn't even know when someone entered her house. Seb advised her to hand over the datura flower. Otherwise, she would be harmed again. He said these words from the bottom of his heart, but Meera cursed and refused his request, making him even more insecure. His father didn't acknowledge him. His friends mocked him. Porsche also looked down on him. And even this poor girl despised him. So he used his strength to beat her cruelly. Meera was badly beaten. She picked up a rock and threw it at him, then put on her hat and ran away. At this crucial moment, Meera's boyfriend disappeared as always. Because she was seriously injured, she could only crawl to move, until she saw them chasing her with sticks. She didn't know where she got the strength to run quickly home, grab the last bunch of datura flowers, and then jump out the window to escape. She ran very far for a very long time, but they still chased her. The mountain path she had walked countless times before seemed endless today. They held knives and forced her to the edge of a cliff. Seb still didn't give up. He still wanted the datura flower, but she kicked him in the groin. When Meera was about to leave, the other four caught up. In desperation, she threw the last bunch of datura flowers down the cliff. "You won't get it. Murderers!" "No, you fool." After Meera left, time passed quickly. 6 years later, everyone appeared with new identities. The irony was that Alex, who once loved Meera deeply, now worked as a security guard for the Porsche family. The head of security always had to clean up the consequences for them. Seb, who had assaulted Meera, married Porsche's cruel best friend. As for Meera's family, to forget the pain, they moved to a new house. The most tragic thing for Meera was that her sister, Rose, loved Alex, and they were engaged. The two families had become like one. On the altar were pictures of Meera and her parents. Everyone was selfish. Alex held the scarf that Meera used to wear before she died and didn't know what to say.
Each person hid a dark secret in their heart.
Alex's parents, out of worry and guilt, often visited Meera's house. Rose had loved Alex since childhood, but Alex loved her sister. Now that her sister was dead, she finally had him. As for Alex, he felt he owed Meera, so he decided to marry Rose and together take care of her family. They didn't know that Meera was still alive. She had transformed and become cruel. The rest of her life would be dedicated to revenge. To get revenge, I've waited 6 years. This moment has come. Meera had prepared graves for the 5 people who had bullied her. The holes were dug, only lacking the ashes. Every day for the past 6 years, she had pasted pictures of them dead on the wall, even the ceiling, to motivate herself on the path of revenge. But she wouldn't let them die quickly. She wanted to avenge herself with the same things she had endured. The 5 devils had graduated and entered society. But because their families were wealthy, they were still arrogant and reckless. Although Meera had completely changed and become strong, the Porsche family had also grown very quickly in the past few years. They had relied on the last datura flower from the flower finder to become the wealthiest family in the area. Today was Porsche's celebration party. The entire bar was owned by her family. Her father happily announced that his daughter would soon become the new chairman. As she stepped onto the stage, Porsche's vanity was finally satisfied. She excitedly introduced the new product she had created and invited everyone to enjoy the wine. But the unexpected happened. The enthusiastic applause that Porsche expected didn't appear. Instead, there were mocking laughs. No one took her seriously. People started dancing wildly, losing themselves in the music. Before long, Porsche on stage also showed signs of abnormality. She unconsciously caressed her body and laughed like crazy until she took off all her clothes. Her father rushed up to cover her and shouted, ordering his subordinates to catch the saboteur. Just then, a limousine stopped in front of the bar. A glamorous woman in a red dress stepped out. It was Meera, who had returned to take revenge. The performance just now was just an appetizer for them. Only when Meera walked through the crowd and stepped onto the stage did the devils realize she was still alive. But before they could react, Meera repeatedly slapped Porsche's face right in front of her father, slapping and cursing. "You stupid skank." The son of the bald police chief took out a gun and threatened Meera. But Meera was no longer the meek girl of the past. "Go ahead and shoot me if you dare. If you can't, I'll twist your head off and use it as a soccer ball," Meera gently signaled. And immediately the men with her rushed in to attack. By the time Meera left, Porsche was still in a daze. Alex chased after Meera. He had countless questions he wanted to ask her, but Meera didn't want to acknowledge knowing him and pushed him away. Former lovers meeting again, but being as cold as strangers. This terrified Alex. No matter what he asked, she wouldn't answer. You could see she was no longer blindly in love. She had become cruel. She only asked him one question: "Why are you working for the Porsche family?" Seeing that he didn't answer, she gave him a sidelong glance and left. Until the next day, the group of devils still weren't at peace. They discussed finishing her off a second time. But Porsche suddenly grabbed a bottle of wine and threw it. She suspected she was possessed and went crazy for no reason. So they went to find a shaman. But after dancing for a while, the shaman suddenly rushed over and started strangling Porsche. It took all of them to pull her off. Then they gagged her and ran out of the small house. Meera praised the shaman's acting as top-notch. "If I have money, I'll definitely hire her to act with me." Actually, when the datura flower was destroyed, no one knew that the mountain god had the ability to revive everything. As long as they were blessed by her, they would come back to life. She also punished greedy humans. But with Meera's return, the war had begun. They ambushed her on the road. She had to take home, and once again took advantage of her kindness. Seeing an old man lying unconscious on the road, Meera went to help. But when she lifted the old man, she was captured. Another man also appeared behind her. She started to defend herself. Over the years, she hadn't wasted time. She had not only learned to shoot, but also learned martial arts. The son of the bald police chief was waiting for news when he suddenly heard a loud knocking on the door. His nearly 100-kilogram henchman was lifted up by several men and thrown inside. The person who came was Meera. She held up her phone to record and forced him to watch the scene of his henchman being beaten. The henchman confessed that it was the son of the bald police chief who had ordered him to do this. Meera mocked them as cowardly men, only knowing how to use dirty tricks, not even as good as women. "Don't you understand? I could easily have someone shoot you all right now. But I like to torment you day by day, to let you experience fear. The game has just begun. Rose couldn't believe that her sister was still alive. Her grandmother saw Meera return and sobbed, almost fainting. You look like you're doing very well, thank goodness. But Rose couldn't calm down. She was in love with Alex. She couldn't let her sister know about this. She was afraid that her sister would take Alex back from her. So she quickly took off her wedding ring and hid it in her pocket. But Meera still noticed something different. She just thought that her sister had a boyfriend and didn't want her to know. So she didn't expose her. Not long after, Meera brought her family to her villa. Her family was extremely surprised because she had many servants. She asked them not to rent a house anymore, to come live with her for safety, because she was afraid her acts of revenge would affect them. Her cunning sister kept asking who had saved her. When she saw that it was the person she was investigating, she was relieved. Meera took her family to her company. The company was named after the datura flower. All the products were made by her own hands. Currently, she was a competitor of the Porsche family. Her goal was to destroy the Porsche group. The cleaner named Sari, who had helped her at the school, was now her assistant. When everyone was about to leave, a car sped towards them, intending to run them over. Luckily, the security guard at the gate used pepper spray to spray the car continuously. Meera understood that she had to take action. In just one day, she clashed with Porsche again at the mall. Porsche mocked her, saying that even though she wore nice clothes, she still had a country smell and threw coffee on her. Meera didn't say much. She rushed over and beat Porsche to her heart's content. She told Porsche that there were many more terrible things waiting for her, that she wanted her to live in fear every day. Rose moving into her sister's house wasn't peaceful either. She secretly watched everyone in the house because she felt they were very suspicious. When she told Meera about her suspicions, Meera realized her sister hadn't changed. She was still the same person. Sometimes she even doubted whether she was her real sister. Meera wasn't foolish enough to reveal her secrets to her. From then on, she hid everything she did from her sister. Both of them had their own schemes. Along with Meera's darkening, Maria also changed, becoming no longer gentle. At this time, the movie suddenly introduced a little girl. It turned out to be Seb's daughter, but this child was not his and his current wife's. When Seb was teaching his daughter martial arts, he met Meera. She beat him up badly. He couldn't even fight back. Meera hated him deeply. She also understood why she did that. Actually, there had been times when she wanted to finish him, but now she couldn't. She only tormented him, making him live a life worse than death. When Meera left, Seb's daughter called out to her and asked, "Why did you hit my daddy?" Meera answered a sentence, and the little girl fell silent. The little girl said that she really liked Meera. Meera couldn't help but caress the little girl's face. Her heart pounded. She remembered her lost daughter. She cried. Seb looked at Meera, uncomprehending. Meera also didn't know why she was crying. To get revenge on Meera, this time Porsche didn't use violence but took her to a restaurant and let her witness her sister being in love with her ex-boyfriend. At that moment, Meera was heartbroken. Why are they deceiving me? Why? She felt like a fool. She used pictures of Alex as target practice, but she still couldn't release the hatred in her heart. She wanted to see how long it would take for them to tell her the truth. As long as they didn't say anything, Alex was still hers. She deliberately applied sunscreen to Alex, right in front of Rose. Sure enough, Rose was furious, but she still pretended to be affectionate with Meera. She said that she wanted to rekindle her old relationship with Alex. Meera told her to forget the past, but her words were like punching into the air. Meera's return, along with the betrayal of her loved ones, completely awakened the demon in her. She remembered the past again. She couldn't be blinded by family affection. Maria reminded her not to forget her goal of revenge, because apart from revenge, her life had no meaning. She chose Porsche as her first target. She kidnapped Porsche right in front of her house. The punishment awaiting Porsche would be 10 times what she had done to Meera. When she woke up, Porsche found herself lying at a construction site, next to a running concrete mixer. Only when she was hung upside down did she realize it was Meera, the poor girl she had bullied. Even though she was about to die, Porsche still cursed loudly. Meera ordered her subordinates to hang her up as high as possible, then throw her, along with 2 bags of cement, into the concrete mixer. At this point, Porsche was truly scared. She tried to struggle, but it was useless. Just when she was about to die of fear, the rope suddenly snapped, causing her to fall to the ground. Seeing Porsche unconscious, Meera looked disgusted. There was a time when she was just as desperate. She wouldn't let her die so easily. The best punishment was to make her life a living hell. Meera took Porsche to a shipping container. She suddenly threw a bucket of hot water on her. "Honey, the game has just begun." From now on, remember how you treated me 6 years ago. Today I'll give it back to you exactly. Porsche wouldn't give in. She grabbed a chair and hit Meera with it. Meera kicked her in the groin. She deliberately didn't tie her up so she could beat her to her heart's content. While Meera was tormenting Porsche, her family was worriedly searching for her. Their precious daughter was kidnapped right in front of their house. How bold was this person? They sent out many people to search, even contacting the bald police chief. But they still couldn't find any trace of Porsche. She had vanished from the face of the earth. At this point, Seb couldn't help but call his sister. Unexpectedly, the person who answered the phone was Meera. He finally understood that this was Meera's revenge. Meera frankly admitted, "I took that skank. I warned her, you won't be disappointed. I'll give you a chance to see her." At this point, Seb realized that the words Meera had said before weren't jokes. She was serious. He hurriedly thought of ways to save his sister, but their speed couldn't keep up with Meera's. She was like a hunter hunting prey, deliberately provoking Seb, and then using the skills she had learned over the years to defeat him, making Porsche gradually experience failure and despair. Finally, Porsche started begging Meera to let her go, but the more Meera heard, the more disgusted she became. Finally, she was so angry that she picked up a knife and said she would slash Porsche's face. But suddenly she seemed to remember something, how her beautiful hair had been destroyed, how her scalp had been cut until it bled. She went crazy. She grabbed scissors and cut off all of Porsche's hair. But no matter what she did, she couldn't get her innocence back. Her father was gone forever. She grabbed Porsche's hair and forced her to confess that she had used a hammer to finish her father. She hated it so much she could hardly breathe. Simple punishments could no longer relieve the anger in her heart. She ordered her subordinates to bring a special medicine and pour it on Porsche, then quickly left. Because it was a hair-corroding medicine. You'll never grow hair again in this lifetime. Seeing Porsche screaming in pain, Meera became even more excited. She wanted to lock her in a coffin and bury her alive. In the dead of night, from the deep hole came the desperate screams of Porsche. She apologized to Meera. She shouldn't have finished her father. "I'm really sorry, Meera." But ever since her father died, her heart had also died. She would not forgive anyone. Tonight she didn't finish her. Instead, she threw her out into the wilderness to fend for herself. If she survived, she would continue to torment her. She wouldn't let her die so easily. For the rest of her life, she would have to live in pain and torment. Her subordinates carried the container away. After several days and nights, she was discovered by a night worker. At the hospital, she woke up in a nightmare. She wouldn't even let the nurse touch her. Her mind was damaged. She discovered that her last strands of hair had also fallen out, her scalp ulcerated. She remembered that horrific night. She didn't want to live anymore. She cared deeply about her appearance. Her family rushed over, and seeing their daughter's condition, they couldn't believe it. "Why has my obedient child become like this? Who did this?" Porsche cried but didn't dare say who the culprit was. Seb, her brother, regretted not protecting his sister. Although she had punished Porsche, Meera knew this was only the beginning. She couldn't understand her sister and Alex's situation. She didn't oppose their love. She just didn't understand why they had deceived her. She hated deception. She remembered Alex's vows, and her sister had never been truly honest with her either. She put pictures of Alex and her sister on a dartboard and shot at them every day. Because in reality, she couldn't do that. They were her only family. Alex came to find Rose, but was told that she was out. At the same time, he received a room key card. Alex thought that Rose was meeting him, so he didn't hesitate to go to the hotel. But the person who came was Meera. It was clear that the two were once lovers, but Alex was a little embarrassed. He asked whose room key card it was. Meera said that she had given it to him. She just wanted to talk to him a little. Actually, she wanted to force Alex to admit that he loved her sister. But he remained silent. This was what Meera hated most. She secretly called Rose. Realizing something was wrong, Rose rushed to the hotel. She raised her hand right in front of her sister and said, "See? We're engaged. Don't deceive yourself anymore. Alex is mine. You died 6 years ago. Now, even if you come back, everything has changed." Meera was so angry she couldn't breathe. "Do you think I don't know how dirty your heart is? You've always wanted Alex. Ever since we were little, you've wanted to take him from me, even fighting with me. I disappeared for 6 years. You finally had your chance. You got your wish." What angered her most was that Alex said that he now only loved Rose. It was Rose who had been with him during his most difficult times. Meera felt that her concept of love had been completely destroyed. They had joined forces to betray her. But seeing Meera's despair, Rose believed she hadn't done anything wrong. "You've been gone for years. I got together with Alex after you left." Back home, Meera asked her grandmother why she had hidden it from her. Her grandmother replied that everyone didn't want her to be disappointed and heartbroken, so they hid it from her. "It's good that you know." Because of Portia's situation, the group of devils gathered again. The principal's son was told by Portia that Meera had done this. He finally realized that his recent poisoning and hospitalization, and his father's misunderstanding, were all Meera's doing. "That fool has infiltrated our lives. We have to be careful." To avenge his daughter, Portia's father hired assassins to go to Meera's house at night. Just then, Rose, who was a police officer, returned home with Alex. Rose, being vigilant, saw someone breaking in. She grabbed her gun and fired back. But in the end, she was shot and fell to the ground. But the surprising thing was that when he saw Rose injured, Portia's father ordered his subordinates to stop. Meera ran over and rushed her sister to the hospital. Luckily, she was only injured in the arm, not life-threatening. Just then, Portia's father also rushed to the hospital, looking worried. He wanted to see Rose. Meera was very confused. She kept cursing him. She wanted to finish him. But this was a hospital. She couldn't act rashly. But he revealed a truth to her. Rose was his biological daughter. Years ago, Kun and Meera's mother were lovers and had gotten pregnant. But at that time, because of fame and money, he didn't want to marry Meera's mother and abandoned her. Meera's mother was pregnant and homeless, with not even enough money to eat. Meera's father, a kind man, took her in. As if to give the baby a family, they chose to live together. Meera's father knew very well that the baby wasn't his biological child, but he still loved her like his own. To protect her, he treated Rose like a younger sister and let Meera take care of her. Later, Meera also learned about this from her grandmother. At that time, she understood why her sister was different from her. She knew that her sister was greedy for money, but she didn't expect her to be so cruel. Kun gave her the only document proving her identity, a letter from her mother. Rose was forced to believe that she was Kun's daughter. She was half-sisters with Meera and half-sisters with Portia. She didn't know whether to be happy or sad. Happy because she finally had a rich father. Sad because that rich father had finished her adoptive father. But in the end, she still decided to go home with Kun. She said that she hated that leaky house. She hated her father's favoritism. But Rose didn't know that Meera had dropped out of school very early to become a cleaner, giving her the opportunity to study, which is why she was bullied. Unexpectedly, this ungrateful person resented them and quickly ran to rely on the enemy. She even forgot how tragically her adoptive father had died. Meera couldn't believe it. Kun, seeing that Meera wouldn't let go, cursed and threatened. "Portia has already been ruined by you. Do you want to ruin Rose too? Then let her come home with me, otherwise I won't let you go." Meera advised Rose not to go to that devil's den. It would finish her. But Rose was still stubborn. She was just discharged from the hospital when she packed her bags and returned to Kun's house, where her half-brother and her evil stepmother were waiting for her. Actually, Kun bringing Rose home also had a hidden purpose. As soon as she entered the door, everyone gave her sidelong glances. The person who objected most strongly was Kim, her stepmother, and the bald Portia also mocked her. Kun scolded everyone. Portia could only introduce herself with a disgruntled look. Rose was no pushover either, she said. "This house isn't a place I wanted to come to. You begged me to come. What are you?" Then, she went straight upstairs. Portia, who was sitting in the chairman's chair, discovered that the wastewater from the family's factory had exceeded the permitted limits and couldn't be treated. She couldn't believe it, thinking that their competitor was slandering them. But the documents in the assistant's hand proved otherwise. Portia was in a state of extreme panic. She couldn't think of a solution. Suddenly, she saw a bald man pointing a gun at her. She remembered that horrific night again, in which there was also a bald man. Her screams attracted everyone's attention. She said that someone wanted to finish her. Alex rushed over to check and discovered it was just a repairman working. But Portia saw the man holding a gun, wanting to shoot her. Kun was extremely disappointed. He knew his daughter was traumatized, but he didn't expect it to be so serious. Her mother was also helpless. Just then, a friend came to Meera and asked for her help in taking revenge. Audrey was also a victim of the group of 5. They had locked her in the trunk of a car and taken her to a remote place. Someone insulted her, someone stepped on her hand, and Portia was the most cruel. Their bullying had prevented her from graduating smoothly and made her the failure she was today. Meera agreed to help her get revenge. She suggested tormenting them slowly. Audrey pushed a shopping cart in front of Portia, but she didn't recognize her. Audrey said that she had bullied so many people, How could she remember who she was? Just then, Meera appeared with a contract in her hand. She said that she had signed a new contract, a project that Porsche had always wanted. And now Meera had snatched it away. Porsche was so angry, she wanted to tear her to pieces. Seeing Porsche's suffering, Meera was overjoyed. Audrey, go for it. Audrey slapped Porsche hard, then stuffed her into the shopping cart, spun her around multiple times and stopped. She opened a bottle of chili sauce and poured it all into Porsche's mouth. Seeing Audrey so crazed, Porsche realized that her mind was also unstable. She had also been tormented by the group of devils until she was a broken person. Porsche didn't know how she got back to the company. She took all her anger and frustration out on the employees, using her authority to humiliate them. From the moment she entered the door until she reached her office, she didn't spare anyone. Just then, Tina, Porsche's best friend, appeared. Seeing Porsche like that, she was also upset. She suggested that Porsche fight back. Porsche also had that intention. At the same time, Rose at the villa wasn't having an easy time either. She was injured, but still tried to cook for herself. Kim was furious when she saw Rose in her kitchen again. She remembered Rose's hateful mother, a woman of outstanding intelligence. The medicines she concocted were always perfect, always stealing the spotlight at school. It had been so difficult to get rid of her. Unexpectedly, 20 years later, her daughter appeared before her. She angrily threw food at Rose, because Rose's appearance had shattered the peace of her family. She didn't want Rose to touch anything of hers, including food. Moreover, she dared to insult her. Kim's actions were caught by Kun when he returned home and stopped in time. Rose said to Kun, "If you're not capable, then don't bring me here. Look at my life, it's even worse than at my old house." Kun comforted her, telling her not to be angry. He would handle everything. Then, he gave Rose a document. It was the certificate of ownership for the datura flower. Kun's scheme was very clear. Currently, Meera was also an owner of the datura flower. Kun wanted the two sisters to fight each other. Rose clearly understood his scheme. She wanted to tell her boyfriend, Alex, and discuss what to do. But thinking about it, she gave up, because she didn't know who Alex was siding with at this point. Alex always advised her to move out. After all, it wasn't a good place. Rose knew that very well. Porsche's solution was to use money to bribe Audrey, wanting her to betray Meera. Audrey took the check and revealed Meera's bidding plan, as well as all the inside information. Porsche thought she had it in the bag. Unexpectedly, Tina called Meera, causing her to completely lose the new project. Kun blamed everything on Porsche, but she still wouldn't admit her mistake, saying that she had also been deceived. Kun was so angry that he stripped her of her chairman position, saying she wasn't capable. This time, even her mother speaking up didn't help. Losing the most important thing, Porsche was in extreme distress. This was the first time she had cried because of work. What's more ironic is that Kun asked Alex, who was working as the head of security, to escort her out of the company and forbid her from entering again. Porsche refused and started to resist. She believed that her father had a new daughter and wanted to abandon her. Kun didn't want to listen to her nonsense, so he personally dragged her out and slapped her a few times in front of the entire company. Since then, Porsche, who was once arrogant, had become useless, a complete failure, truly experiencing despair. At this time, Audrey arranged to meet her. Porsche was furious and went immediately. Audrey didn't apologize, but tore up the check right in front of her. "I'm poor, but I won't take money from scum." Then, she slapped her and forced her to swallow the torn pieces of paper. "How many people have you bullied? Do you know what's in this glass? It's wastewater from your family's factory. It's harmed so many people." Porsche could only scream in anger. Returning home, she saw Rose, Meera's sister, again. Porsche started to badmouth Rose. Rose was no pushover either, she retorted, silencing Porsche. But Rose wasn't living an easy life either. Ever since she came to this house, she had never had peace. One day, she was going to call Alex to complain when she unexpectedly saw the painting on the second floor. It was Alex's lost design. How is it in Kun's house? She quickly took out her phone and took a picture. Kun and Kim realized that Rose had seen something she shouldn't have and feared their secret would be discovered. So, they framed the company's longest-serving employee and took him to the police. Seb believed that his father shouldn't treat old employees like that and suggested that the factory should be reformed because it had harmed so many people. But he was slapped by his father because his company was essentially built on illegal practices. When he left, Seb met Meera. This woman had now become extremely strong. She even brought up the fact that Seb had assaulted her right in front of him. Meera's actions terrified Seb. Meera said that she wouldn't finish him. She wanted his loved ones to die before his eyes. He had to live to witness her revenge. At this time, the assistant who was in prison told Alex a harsh truth. The design wasn't stolen by me. The boss has a lot of things you don't know about. They've done a lot of bad things. At the same time, Meera also told Alex that the culprit who killed his sister was very likely Kim. Not long after, they found a witness. This man had witnessed Kim running someone over and fleeing. Years ago, because he was afraid of trouble, he didn't speak up. He had lived in torment for all these years. At this point, Alex realized how foolish he had been. He had been working for the enemy all these years. The police quickly came to arrest Kim for investigation. Kim pleaded innocent but was still taken away. Porsche and Tina believed that Rose had reported her mother, so they came to cause trouble. But Rose pinned them down and slapped each of them. Alex decided to resign. Kuhn asked him why. Alex said, "Are you pretending to be stupid? My sister was run over by your family." But Kuhn said that his sister had run into the car herself. Alex angrily punched him and was kicked out. But Kuhn also suddenly had a heart attack, clutching his chest and unable to move. Everyone rushed him to the hospital. The group of devils gathered once again. Meera also appeared in black clothes, holding a bouquet of chrysanthemums to congratulate Kuhn. She said that she had come to pay her respects, just like how they had insulted her father when he passed away. "You must accept it. Don't refuse my kindness. Don't worry, I'll let your whole family reunite in the hospital." Seb rushed over to stop her, but Meera didn't care about him. She pushed Porsche, who was blocking her way, aside. "Luckily, you're not dead yet. Otherwise, I'd lose the joy in my life." Kim, who had just been bailed out, wanted to teach Meera a lesson, but unexpectedly had to bow to her. Porsche wanted to help her mother up, but Meera fought back. The police chiefs and principal's sons wanted to help, but Meera pushed them into the doorframe. Meera saw Tina, the smartest and most self-concealing member of the group of five. "Don't think you're innocent, that you haven't done anything bad. You're the biggest schemer of them all. I didn't expect you to become a wife." Then she slapped Tina. Tina was so scared she trembled. She had heard about Meera's recent cruel acts. But Tina, being really sneaky, went to the principal's son and talked him into helping get revenge on Meera. But the principal's son then got the son of the bald police chief to join in. These two guys plotted to hurt Meera's grandma. They waited for her to go outside, then attacked and kidnapped her. The police chief's son used handcuffs he brought from the police station to lock her hands. And then, ignoring her pleas, they took her to a deserted alley and forced her to drink a strange drug. Just a few minutes later, she started to lose consciousness. It turned out they had given her an overdose of a stimulant. When Meera found out her grandma was missing, she was so angry she wanted to go crazy. The bald police chief's son called her and taunted her. "See how happy your grandma is now? I'm going to make her even happier." Then, he hung up. Seb ran over and demanded that he release her. And he did. But he didn't know that she had lost consciousness. In just a moment, she was gone. She staggered around aimlessly, not knowing where she was going, until she ran into two thugs. They dragged her into an alley and beat her badly when they found out she had no money. She passed out right there. Meera frantically raised her hand, asking Maria for her grandma's location. A gentle breeze blew by, and she had her answer. But when she found her, she was in a coma. After a medical examination, everyone found out that she had been given ecstasy. Luckily, she was still alive. If it had been another elderly person, they might not have made it. Meera was terrified. She felt guilty towards her grandma. She was old and still had to suffer in her place. Meera once again retaliated furiously. She had someone sneak into the police station and record the bald police chief's son, Ren, abusing his power. Ren was a perverted cop. He often chose handsome young men and promised to release them if they agreed to do it with him. Soon after, Ren's crimes were exposed to the public. But when questioned by reporters, he said it wasn't him, that someone was framing him. Meera appeared with her subordinates and threw pictures of the male prisoners he had abused at him. Ren wanted to shoot Meera, but his superiors stopped him. From then on, Ren's career was completely ruined. He went to Porsche's house begging for help, but everyone abandoned him. He screamed that it was because he helped them, that he was being targeted by Meera for revenge. But everyone's meaning was very clear. They also had a hard time protect themselves. He even begged his foster mother, but Kim was helpless. She was in trouble too. Tina, the one who caused this, pretended like nothing happened. Ren could only go home and drink to drown his sorrows. The principal's son encouraged him to be strong. "Have you forgotten how you used to bully others? You were always my role model." Ren said he couldn't anymore. He was impotent. Actually, he always had felt insecure inside. In just one day, he was abandoned by everyone. At this time, his father called and asked to meet him. The father didn't care about his son. He just ordered him to wash his car, and the more he look at him, the more disgust he feels. You even wash the car so lazily. He angrily beat his son. Why did you let a woman play you and then throw you away? Why do you like men? Aren't women good enough? Ren started to talk back to his father. I became like this because you forced me. I told you a long time ago. I didn't want to associate with Porsche's family. And I didn't want to be a cop. But in the end, he was beaten by his father until his nose bled, and he was cornered. Ren had been secretly following Meera for days, and finally caught her. He held a gun and threatened her to go with him. At this moment, a dog ran up and bit him to death. And so, the only son of the bald police chief died. His body was brought before his father. His son was bitten to death by a wolf. The chief couldn't accept this reality. Now, the group of 5 crazy people was down to 4. Tina, who never did anything good, again incited everyone to get revenge. But Seb stopped her. He wanted her to stop causing trouble. Everyone was upset when they saw Rose return home. Porsche thought that Rose had cooperated with Meera to destroy them. Otherwise, how could she appear nearby at that exact time? What did you come to my house for? Rose retorted. I came here on purpose to wreck your house. If you're so great, kick me out. Kuhn said that he wouldn't kick her out. No matter what she did, he wouldn't be angry. His words made Rose feel ashamed. After Ren's death, Meera wasn't happy either. She didn't know if what she did was right or wrong. She was even haunted by Ren's death. He had died so cruelly. While she was confused, Maria appeared again and created an illusion for her. In the illusion, Alex suddenly appeared looking for Meera, but was kidnapped by Ren. Ren didn't say much and cut Alex's artery. Meera fired many shots but still couldn't save Alex. Even after escaping the illusion, she was still grieving, because Alex was the only man she loved, and the last one. Maria's meaning was very clear. She wanted to tell Meera that once you start, there's no turning back. If Meera stopped, they wouldn't spare her. Showing mercy for a moment would only lead to the people she loved getting hurt. The best way was to pull out the weeds, roots and all. Ren's funeral was held as planned. The bald police chief cried his eyes out and swore in front of Kuhn that he would personally kill Meera. Kim saw Rose appear at the funeral and thought she had no right to be there. She made snide remarks and mocked her. Kim thought that her foster son's death was also related to Rose. Rose laughed coldly and said, "You all deserve to die, don't you think? You murderer. You ran over someone's sister and you still dare to lecture me? Who do you think you are? You bastard." Rose's continuous provocation and disrespect made Kim unable to stand it anymore. She grabbed her hair and yanked it back and forth. Rose was no pushover either. She grabbed Kim's hair and wouldn't let her be. No one dared to intervene until Seb appeared and pulled them apart. But Rose still looked at Kim with eyes full of hatred. She wanted to kill her with her gaze. Kim also didn't stop cursing, saying that she was unlucky to have met this devil. Losing all face. When leaving, Rose met her sister, Meera. Actually, she intentionally met Meera. She wanted to cooperate with Meera to destroy Porsche's family. But Meera had been through so much, she was more worried that Rose had some kind of plot. So she didn't agree. After all, Kuhn was her biological father, who knew what she was thinking. But Rose said something that shocked her. If you miss this opportunity, we might become enemies in the future. Moreover, I understand Kuhn's schemes. How could a daughter who was abandoned for over 10 years suddenly receive fatherly love? Sister, I hope you'll give me an answer soon. Meera couldn't grasp Rose's mind, so she couldn't answer her. She was having a headache when she suddenly received a call from an unknown number. The voice on the other end was the person who had kidnapped her before. What surprised her even more was that the person was the bald police chief. "You killed my son, you're very brave. You made me suffer so much. I also want to give you some good news. Your daughter is still alive. I'm the only one who knows where she is. Come and meet me, I'll be waiting for you." It turned out that this was what happened years ago. Meera was cornered in the forest by that group of evil people, but she used her familiarity with the terrain and herself made medicine to defeat each of the 5 people, including the bald police chief's son. Receiving the report, the bald police chief rushed over and chased his son away. He didn't want his son's future to be ruined for murder, so after Meera fell into the river, he knocked her unconscious and kidnapped her right in front of Alex. He frantically put a black hood over her head and intended to kill her and dispose of the body. But in the end, he desired her beauty and didn't go through with it. However, he discovered that Meera was vomiting constantly and realized she was pregnant. He didn't know why, but he agreed to let her give birth. Meera had been pregnant in the dark for 9 months. For her child, she had to try to survive. She tried everything to escape, but because of her heavy body, she was caught again. Not only did she fail, but she also went into premature labor. That day was a day full of humiliation, despair, and misery for Meera. She gave birth right in front of a strange man in a filthy environment. But before she could even hold her baby, the child was taken away by the man in black. She was exhausted and fainted. When she woke up, the man told her a cruel truth. Her daughter had died half an hour after birth. Meera didn't believe it, she cried, and begged him to give her child back. But he mocked and insulted her. The painful memories came flooding back. Meera was both heartbroken and saw a glimmer of hope. Her daughter was still alive. So she prepared herself to meet the bald police chief, just to find information about her daughter. But as she stepped down the stairs, she discovered that all her guards had been killed. It was clear that the bald police chief wanted her to come alone. Meera wasn't afraid. She drove off without hesitation. The destination was an abandoned factory. The bald police chief, as soon as he saw her, hated her so much, he wanted to finish her immediately. Meera wanted to know where her daughter was, but he refused to say. He said he wanted to kill her himself to avenge his son. The two argued for a while and then started fighting. Meera used her small and agile body to make him dizzy. But after all, he was a man, and his strength was still greater than a woman's. Meera beat him until he vomited blood, but in the end, she still lost. She was restrained by him and couldn't move, just like when she was imprisoned in that dark room years ago. Meera felt disgusted, wanted to vomit, and wanted to resist, but he used her daughter to threaten her. It seemed he had humiliated her enough. He said that he would do bad things to her for revenge for his son. At the critical moment, Alex received the news and rushed to the scene. Finally, the two of them joined forces to kill the bald police chief. He was the second person killed in Meera's journey of revenge. The blood gushing out terrified Meera. She didn't want to kill anyone, but if she hadn't killed him, she would have died. Along with his death, the clue about her daughter also disappeared. Alex comforted her. He knew that she had suffered a lot over the years. The news of the bald police chief's death spread quickly. Porsche's family became gloomy and dark because they lost this important collaborator. Everyone knew who the culprit was, but there was no evidence. Porsche's condition seemed to worsen. She even thought that the housekeeper was mocking her, but again saw that the woman still smiled and made fun of her. But the truth was that she wasn't doing anything, just playing on her phone. Porsche went crazy and slapped her, the phone falling to the ground and shattering. The daily arguments in the house scared Amy, Porsche's niece. The little girl felt that her aunt was very scary, as if she wanted to eat her alive. The little girl fearfully called her father and hid in his arms. "I'm so scared." Only when Porsche left did Amy's tears flow. Luckily, the little girl still had her loving father by her side. Seb also cried constantly. He was desperate with this family, and even more tormented for making his daughter live in such an environment. At the same time, Meera was also heartbroken because she lost the clue about her daughter. No matter how much her grandma comforted her, it was useless. Rose also ran home to comfort her sister. "Don't cry anymore. Everything will be all right." It must be said that Meera's fate was truly tragic. Until midnight, she still couldn't calm down. She stared at the picture of the bald police chief and his son. From the time she was imprisoned, pregnant, until she lost her child, she hated them to death. While she was venting her anger, the housekeeper suddenly appeared. She both pitied Meera's fate and reminded her to focus on revenge. There are still so many bad people who haven't died. You can't lose your composure. It turned out that the housekeeper was the one who rescued Meera from captivity, and she was also an enemy of Porsche's family. Her husband and son had been killed by them. Therefore, she saved Meera with a purpose, because they were both pitiful people who had lost loved ones. She wasn't a real housekeeper, but the person behind the scenes helping Meera. Although on the surface she was helping Meera, in reality, she was using her for revenge. Maria also appeared at this time and comforted her. "Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. They all deserve to die." At the same time, Seb was also worried and uneasy. Married for many years, he had barely touched Tina. Now, facing Meera's furious revenge every day, he was very tormented. Perhaps in his heart, he had always loved Meera. Because he couldn't have her, he had taken her by force 10 years ago. He went to church to confess, saying that he regretted it, that he shouldn't have treated Meera like that. In the past, his sister and his friends had harmed Meera, but he had never taken part. But on that day, he was possessed by a demon, unable to control himself. Now it was too late to regret. The priest advised him to sincerely apologize to Meera, so that his soul would be more at peace. Although he had been discharged from the hospital, Kuhn was no longer the same. He had become a frail old man, but he still didn't repent, blaming all the mistakes on Meera. Not long after, Meera was in danger when she went out. This time it was a person wearing a mask, who without a word, sprayed pepper spray on her. Seeing Meera unable to resist, Seb, who was preparing to go apologize to her, suddenly appeared and fought with the robber. Meera found it unbelievable. She called Maria again and said she needed help. Immediately a wind arose and dust blew everywhere. The robber didn't understand what was happening and quickly ran away. While Meera was helping the guard, she received a phone call from Kuhn. He said that this was just a small punishment. Prepare to receive the next one. Meera looked at Seb acting and felt angry. You hypocrite. But Seb didn't know anything. The first person he suspected was still his father. He went home and asked his father if he did it. Kuhn, of course, denied it, and warned his son not to interfere in his affairs. After her wounds healed, Rose returned to work and became Kuhn's right-hand woman. Every day, he brainwashed her, just like he used to lure his daughter, Porsche. He promised Rose that as long as she helped him, sided with him, he would make her to be his successor. He said that she was a ruthless person, with great potential. Rose thought about it, her heart uneasy. Meera had never forgotten her father's death, so she always looked for witnesses. Alex went with her to meet an old woman. On the day her father died, she actually saw two girls running out of the burning house in a panic. She felt guilty and said that at that time, because of fear and lack of evidence, she didn't dare to tell Meera. Until now, thinking back, she was still afraid. Meera took out her phone and asked her to point out the culprit, but the person she pointed to was Tina. Twice in a row, it was Tina. Meera had always thought that only Porsche did it, not knowing that she had an accomplice. But Meera didn't know that Alex's father was also involved in her father's death, also one of the culprits. Seeing the old woman crying in fear, Meera quickly comforted her. But inside she felt extreme hatred. Why are there so many bad people? Alex went home with Meera, but Rose misunderstood. I haven't seen you all day. It turns out you were with Sister Meera. She was jealous again. Meera clearly understood the meaning in Rose's words. We were just investigating the cause of my father's death. Don't overthink it. Between Alex and me, that's in the past. But Rose said that she didn't believe it. She said that her father had been dead for a long time. What was there to investigate? Surely Meera wanted to use this to get close to Alex. Meera felt utterly helpless. Her sister was always so selfish. She didn't want to see her anymore, so she turned and left. Alex also told Rose not to misunderstand him. They hadn't done anything. But Rose was still blindly jealous. She even thought that Alex didn't love her anymore. Alex was so angry he couldn't speak. He felt that Rose had changed a lot since coming to Porsche's house. When they found out that their son was investigating the death of Meera's father, Alex's parents were terrified. They were afraid their secret would be discovered. His father wanted to confess the truth, but his mother stopped him. She wanted to hide this forever. Meera and Alex went to their hometown together to do charity work, but unfortunately, their car got stuck in the mud and couldn't go any further. They were forced to stay in the countryside overnight. Returning to the old place, they both had indescribable feelings. The feelings hidden deep in each person's heart quietly sprouted again. They cried uncontrollably, as if regretting the past relationship. Until evening, Rose still hadn't received a call from Alex. Meera stayed with the owner of the hair salon who had helped her, while Alex slept in the living room. Although separated by a wall, it was as if they could see through each other's hearts. After all, they broke up not because they stopped loving each other, but because Alex thought Meera was dead. Early the next morning, seeing the person she once loved deeply, Meera didn't know what to do. Suddenly, there was a frantic knocking on the door. Alex quickly grabbed his gun and ran out, but discovered that the person who came was Seb. But Seb said that his daughter, Amy, wanted to find Meera, so he had to bring her here. It must be said that Seb was very calculating. It seemed that he still had feelings for Meera. Her biological daughter, who had been missing for many years, was right in front of her, but she didn't know it. She still considered the little girl as the daughter of her enemy, but she discovered that Amy was completely different from those evil people. The little girl was as gentle as an angel. Every time she got close to the little girl, she felt strangely familiar and wanted to be close to her. The little girl had many similarities to her when she was young. Is there any possibility that Amy is my daughter? She was startled by her bold thought. Knowing that Alex had spent the night with Meera, Rose was jealous again. She didn't listen to Alex's explanation, and thought that they wanted to rekindle their old relationship. So I'm the third wheel? Alex's explanation made her cry. She thought that she was also very wronged. She came to Alex after her sister left. The complicated relationship made Alex so angry that he went home and kicked a chair. At the same time, the housekeeper urged Meera again. You shouldn't let your feelings affect your revenge. Now we know that Tina was also involved in your father's death. We can't spare her. Moreover, just by finding her, Amy will also appear nearby. You can take the opportunity to take the girl's hair for a DNA test. So they went to a bustling market. Alex didn't understand what Meera was doing there. He constantly advised her not to do anything foolish. But Meera still went off alone. At this time, Amy was strolling and eating ice cream with the housekeeper. Tina ran over and urged the little girl to go home. But Amy begged to stay a little longer. She was angry and about to throw the ice cream in the little girl's hand, but accidentally threw it on herself. Did you do that on purpose? Seeing the girl fall to the ground, the cruel woman didn't let the housekeeper care for the little girl, but urged her to go to the bathroom to clean up with her, leaving Amy crying on the ground. The little girl was so scared that she didn't dare to move, because her mother told her to sit there and wait for her. Until Meera saw her, she felt pity and lifted the little girl up. At this time, she was very sad. Seeing the little girl cry, she also cried. Amy asked her why she was crying. Meera explained that she had something in her eye. Actually, it was because of mother-child connection. The intense feeling made Meera take action. She pretended to fix the little girl's hair and took her hair clip. She left right before the housekeeper returned. When the housekeeper saw Meera return, she quickly took a bottle of medicine from her pocket and sneaked into the bathroom when no one was around. Meera told me to find you. Seeing Tina wailing in pain, she smiled with satisfaction. One of Tina's eyes was ruined, and half of her face was disfigured. Even after returning home, Meera couldn't calm down. Faced with Alex's questions, she was forced to tell the truth. Not long ago, I told you that I had lost a child and I was looking for her. But did you know that child could very well be Amy? And you could very well be her father. That's why I brought you along today. Do you remember what we promised each other? You were my first man, but I hid something important from you, which is that after you, I was assaulted by Seb. It was on the night I was attacked. The time was only a week apart, so I'm not sure who the child's father is. Alex was so angry he couldn't speak. He blamed Meera for not telling him such an important thing. He wanted to kill Seb, but Meera stopped him from doing so. That child is now calling Seb dad. We can't act rashly. We need proof before we act. Then, she gave Amy's hair to Alex and asked him to get it tested immediately. But Seb suddenly burst into Meera's store. He questioned her why she harmed his wife, acting so cruelly. He said that Tina was innocent, demanding that she stop. He had always been repentant. But Meera didn't care about his words. I want to kill everyone in your family to relieve the hatred in my heart. What? Have you forgotten what you did to me? The next person to die is you. Meera slapped him and told him to stop acting. She felt disgusted. Seb said that as long as she stopped, he would spend his whole life making it up to her. But if she insisted on being like this, he would also protect his family. Unexpectedly, Meera said something that shocked him. I will kill everyone in your family in the near future, including you. I will make you all become broken and live a miserable life. Seb could only go home to comfort Tina. She was seriously injured. Seb didn't understand why Meera was targeting Tina. He asked why, but she refused to say, because she didn't dare to tell the truth. Therefore, Seb thought that Tina was harmed because of him. Suddenly, the principal's son appeared. The three of them immediately started arguing, because the principal's son said that he liked Tina, and blamed Seb for not being a man, not protecting her. They had been secretly seeing each other for a long time. The principal's son thought that Seb still loved Meera, so he couldn't bear to harm Tina. Tina kept apologizing, saying that she was possessed by a demon. She didn't want to leave Seb, but Seb being cheated on like that certainly wouldn't stand for it. So he beat up the principal's son. In a fit of anger, the two of them revealed a shocking secret. Amy is not my biological daughter. I just pretended to go abroad to get pregnant on the advice of that police chief. I stole the baby. Her real mother is Meera. Because I wanted to have her, I had to do it. Seb was shocked by these two pieces of news. He screamed, asking why. Why? Is the baby's mother really Meera? The same question also appeared in Meera and Alex's minds. They went to the hospital to get the DNA test results, but didn't dare to open them. Meera was worried that the baby wasn't Alex's child but Seb's. With Alex's comfort, they both opened the test results at the same time. But the result was beyond Meera's expectations. Amy was not her biological daughter. nor was she related to Alex. Her dream of being a mother was once again shattered. She said in disbelief, "I could clearly feel the connection with my daughter. Why does the test results show that we have no blood relation?" At the same time, Seb also secretly did a DNA test. He cried bitterly. Meera returned home still worried and uneasy. She always felt that Amy was her daughter. Only a mother could understand this feeling. She wanted to do another DNA test, but the housekeeper stopped her. The results showed that she's not your daughter, but the child of your enemy. Why don't you believe it? Are you so obsessed with finding your child that you've gone crazy? Meera screamed, "You're not a mother, so you can't understand my pain. Losing my child is a lifelong pain for me. Even if I have to turn the whole world upside down, I have to find her." The housekeeper was stunned. Once, she also had a son, but her son had died young from accidentally drinking medicine from Porsche's family. In the end, her husband was also killed by their enemies when he went to seek justice for their son. But she couldn't tell Meera. Once the truth was revealed, she wouldn't be able to get revenge. Therefore, she wanted to wake Meera up, help her stay clear-headed to get revenge. But Alex stopped her. The housekeeper also knew that Alex's father was the one who killed her husband. But right now, she couldn't do anything. Alex also suspected that the housekeeper had some kind of plot. This woman seemed mysterious. At the same time, Tina, who had been disfigured, learned a shocking piece of news. Seb's mother told her that someone was investigating Amy and had taken her hair for a DNA test. Luckily, the person doing the test was a friend of hers, so she informed her in advance. Therefore, she used money to switch the test results and gave Meera a fake one. Tina hurriedly opened the test results, which stated that Alex was not the child's father, and Meera was the child's biological mother. Although she already knew this, seeing the results, Tina still couldn't accept it. She had been raising someone else's child all these years. Seb's mother comforted her, "Don't be sad. If we don't say anything, no one will know. Just pretend nothing happened." When the two of them were about to hide it from Seb, he appeared with another test result in his hand. But before he could say anything, Tina screamed, "Seb, you betrayed me. That child is yours and that bitch Meera's." His mother scolded her, "You shouldn't slander my son. My son would never love that country bumpkin." But immediately she was slapped in the face. "Mom, I'm sorry. I lied to everyone. 6 years ago, before getting married, I assaulted Meera. That child is mine. Now I'm very regretful. But I don't know what to do. I don't want to lose my child." Seeing her rotten son like that, the woman was so angry that she beat him. And then Tina. Seb didn't fight back. He knew he was wrong. After an argument, his mother came up with a plan. "Anyway, Amy is my granddaughter. If Meera finds out her daughter is here, she will definitely try to take her back at all costs. Now the only way is to hide the truth. Anyway, Meera is holding the fake test results. She'll believe it." But Tina said that she wouldn't agree. She wouldn't be so stupid as to raise her rival's child. But Seb's mother threatened, "If you don't want to stay in this house, then get out. This is the consequence you caused." After lecturing her son and daughter-in-law, the three of them reached an agreement. At the same time, Rose was also worried and uneasy. She was afraid that her sister would steal Alex from her. Lately, they had been spending a lot of time together. Moreover, she also discovered that Alex's gaze towards her was not the same as before, becoming cold and distant. She advised Alex to stay away from Meera, because her sister was no longer the same person. She was full of lies. "I investigated her company and her relationships. They all appeared suddenly. There's a mysterious force behind them. But she never tells us, always hiding and deceiving. Moreover, don't you think her child story is also fake? Perhaps there is no child. She just wants to use this to keep you." Alex thought that Rose was going too far. She not only investigated her sister, but also denied the truth that Meera had told. But he also understood that lately he had been cold to Rose, so she was acting this way. Therefore, he wanted to take her home to visit her grandmother. But as soon as they entered the gate, the two of them were stunned. The garden was redecorated, becoming very warm. Meera said that this was a gift she prepared for Rose and Alex. She knew they were engaged, but hadn't had a wedding yet, so she wanted to help them fulfill this dream. She said that she had found a seamstress and a makeup artist to help Rose become even more beautiful. And then she could go out and take wedding photos with Alex. "I hope you'll be happy." Rose was touched by her sister's kindness. It seemed that she had misunderstood her. She eagerly went into the dressing room. Meera's assistant didn't understand why she did this. She thought Meera was too kind. "Not everyone understands your suffering." Meera said that since losing the clue about her daughter, she had lost all hope. Right now, she just wanted her loved ones to be able to live well. Alex changed his clothes and came out. The photographer told him to get used to the camera, to practice taking pictures with someone else first. But when they took a few pictures with the assistant, they discovered that the outfits didn't match. Therefore, the photographer suggested that Meera help Alex because he seemed awkward and tense. Meera couldn't refuse, so she had to comply. But when the two of them held hands, they remembered the past. Alex had once promised to marry Meera, and Meera had also promised to marry him. They had betrothed themselves to each other with a grass ring. But now everything had changed. They both felt embarrassed. The photographer was even more outrageous. He asked them to act like a couple in love, to find inspiration for the photo. Just then, Rose finished her makeup, came out and caught them kissing. She immediately misunderstood them. Alex explained that they weren't doing anything, that the photographer was just looking for angles, and he and Meera hadn't done anything to wrong her. But Rose wouldn't listen. She angrily took off the ring and threw it away. She thought she was a fool. Meera did all these things to insult her. Alex initially intended to comfort her, but he couldn't take it anymore. He said that she shouldn't misunderstand Meera's good intentions. The daily arguments were tiring him out. He asked Rose why it had to be like this. Why couldn't they live a peaceful life? But she said that ever since he met Meera again, her life was no longer peaceful. You two have never cared about my feelings. Saying that, she angrily left. Just as she left the door, she met Meera running over to explain, because it was just a misunderstanding. But Rose started to take off the accessories that Meera had given her. She felt disgusted by Meera's fakeness. She hated that Meera had died and then come back to life. Meera's appearance had ruined her love with Alex. Meera explained that recently they were just looking for her child, because she really had no one to rely on. We're family, right? But Rose wouldn't listen. She thought that Meera had ruined her love, even blaming Meera for the cause of her father's death. In fact, it was she who had leaked the information to Porsche. The two of them had a heated argument. Meera thought that her sister was unreasonable. Indeed, an ungrateful person will always be like that, so selfish. If she really couldn't forget Alex, she wouldn't have organized these things for them. She tried to explain, but Rose wouldn't listen. Don't think that just because you have money, you can do whatever you want. I won't accept your kindness. From now on, we'll be enemies, no longer sisters. Saying that, she left Meera in despair and walked away. Rose ran straight to Kuhn's house and drank alone. Kuhn saw everything. His daughter said that she was sad because of her love life. Meera had ruined her love with Alex. But Kuhn was a cunning man. He didn't advise her to forget about everything, but instead incited her to confront Meera. Only when you reach the top will people respect you. You shouldn't care about love right now, but should fight for it at all costs. If you succeed, you won't just have one man. Seb and Tina sat in the corner of the house and saw everything. They understood that Kuhn had abandoned Porsche, and his next goal was to cultivate Rose. But at this moment, they weren't concerned about those things but were worried about their own situation. Seb didn't know how to face Meera and his daughter. After all, he was once a monster. And Tina had become a defective product. She asked Seb to help her get revenge. But he said he was powerless. He felt guilty towards Meera, and now he had a child with her. Moreover, Tina had certainly participated in those bad things, so Meera hated her. That woman has changed. She won't spare anyone who has ever harmed her. Without a big tree to lean on, Tina felt scared because she had truly been threatened by Meera, and she quickly received her punishment. She couldn't sit still and wait for death. She had to tell the truth of the past to clear her name. Therefore, she called Meera and wanted to meet her. Meera was a little surprised to hear this, because not long ago, she was going to kill Porsche. But she said that she wasn't the real culprit. She only hit her father with a hammer. At that time, he was still alive. The real culprit was someone else. Porsche had relied on this lie to escape death. Meera only tormented her but didn't kill her. At this moment, Meera began to waver, because Tina said that the culprit was Porsche. But there were others involved. She had evidence in her hand, so they had to meet. But set a thief to catch a thief. Porsche was standing right behind her. She had seen through Tina's plot. She wanted to survive. So she betrayed her. Porsche couldn't let her tell the truth. When night fell, Tina went to the meeting point with the principal's son. Tina was a little scared, but he said that he would always be by her side. Just by giving the evidence to Meera, they would run away and live a happy life. But right then, Porsche appeared. The man accompanying her pointed a gun at them and threatened them not to move. Porsche questioned Tina why she betrayed her. Isn't our relationship better than Meera's? Why did you betray my father and abandon me? Even you, my best friend, betrayed me? She was so angry. Tina said that she just wanted to survive. She wanted to escape from everything. Do you really think that telling Meera everything will make her spare you? How ridiculous. Because you're so stupid, I'll kill you myself. The principal's son stopped her. Don't do it, after all, we were once friends. But Porsche said that the principal's son had also betrayed his brother for Tina. So she shot him. Tina was terrified. She quickly took a piece of paper from her pocket and tried to give it to Porsche. But Porsche's subordinate shot her, followed by several more shots. Now the group of 5 crazy people was down to Porsche and her brother. Porsche picked up the paper that Tina dropped on the ground and was stunned. She killed her sister-in-law but didn't go to jail. She even made up a story in front of her brother. Brother, I just saw your wife and your best friend running away together. I chased them for a long time, but only managed to rip off one of her earrings. The whole family didn't believe it. They thought Porsche was lying, but only Seb understood. His sister was telling the truth. His wife really had a secret with the principal's son, but he didn't expect them to run away together. Looking at the earring in his hand, he tried to contain himself, because Amy was standing nearby. He didn't want his daughter to hear this. He told his daughter to go to bed early, but while he was venting his anger, Amy saw and heard that her mother had abandoned her. The little girl cried and asked her father, "Why doesn't mommy like me? Now mommy has abandoned me too?" Seb didn't know how to explain it to his daughter. He could only comfort her. Daddy won't leave you, and I won't get angry and scare you anymore. The one who caused this, Porsche, was worried and uneasy. Her expression was seen by Rose. She didn't believe that Tina would run away with another man. There must be a hidden reason. The unfortunate thing was that early the next morning, Amy disappeared. The whole family was in a panic. Seb was the first to think of Meera, because Tina had once said that she would reveal that Amy was Meera's daughter. Could it be that Meera found out the truth and stole the child? He hurriedly called Meera and asked if she had seen Amy. Meera hated Seb, but when she heard the housekeeper's voice on the other end of the line, she realized that Amy was really missing. She was very panicked. This child was the only one who made her feel a connection. She started searching for her everywhere. She searched for a long time but still had no clues. Helpless, she used the old method again. A gentle breeze blew by and she found Amy. But the little girl said that her family was in trouble. Her mother had left. Her father was very angry, and she just wanted to go out and find her mother. Meera comforted the little girl not to be afraid and not to run around anymore. Otherwise, her family would worry. Seb received the news and rushed over. But besides comforting his daughter, he still didn't tell Meera that this child was her daughter. He selfishly took Amy away. At this time, Rose discovered a shocking secret. Her boyfriend's mother came to see Porsche with a bag of money in her hand. Rose was very confused. Why did her boyfriend's mother know Porsche? To find out the truth, she secretly approached them. The words she heard made her unable to believe it. The woman said that she came to return the money. She couldn't keep living in torment and taking Porsche's money. It was clear that they didn't want to continue working for Porsche, wanted to withdraw. But it was too late. Rose hurriedly dragged her sister to Alex's house and questioned his mother. Why did you come to see Porsche? What's this money? She wanted her to explain clearly in front of them. The woman cried and said that she was sorry to Meera's family, then told her husband to tell the truth. After more than 10 years, Meera finally learned the truth about her father's death. On that day, Porsche panicked and ran out of the village, saying that she had killed Meera's father. To avoid being implicated, Alex's father had to help her dispose of the body. At that time, I don't know why I was possessed by a demon and set the fire. But when the fire blazed, I discovered that your father was still alive. But when I was about to save him, the fire caught on me. Afraid of being discovered, I had to run away. Meera and Rose couldn't believe it. My father lived with your father in the same village for decades. How could you be so cruel? Meera angrily slapped Alex's father several times in front of his son. He said that Meera could hit or kill him as she pleased. This was his responsibility. He was truly wrong. The two sisters didn't know how they left that house. They also didn't know how to handle this. The father of her ex-boyfriend and the father of her current boyfriend were both her father's murderers. Until that evening, Meera still couldn't calm down. She even had a terrifying nightmare. She dreamed that her grandmother and uncle suddenly died, and kept blaming her for not taking revenge for them. At the same time, after taking care of his wife, Alex's father packed his luggage and prepared to leave. Even if Meera didn't kill him, he had no face to stay. He asked Alex to take care of his mother and younger brother. Alex was helpless, but couldn't do anything else. But when the two of them were talking, they were suddenly threatened by a man with a gun. And so, Alex and his father both disappeared. The woman, without any precaution, drank the cup of tea that the housekeeper gave her. Less than 3 seconds later, She went limp and fell to the ground. In her daze, she saw Meera, the goddess in her heart, turn into a devil. Meera grabbed her chin and forced her to kill all her enemies. Meera fearfully ran to the balcony to escape her. She saw that she was standing on a dangerous second floor, with the housekeeper staring at her from behind. This is the price for Meera's disobedience. It turned out that the two of them had clashed not long ago. The housekeeper was very angry that Meera was conceding to her enemies step by step. She had told Meera her story. She wanted revenge for her husband and son. Now is the time for Meera to repay my kindness. But this woman was ungrateful and treacherous. She had refused her. She had no other choice but to drug her. Then, taking advantage of her weakness, kidnapped her onto the car. Seeing Meera disobey, she slapped her again, then gave her subordinate a bottle of pink medicine, and told her to inject Kim. This pink medicine was extracted from the pistil of the datura flower. The petals have the effect of healing wounds, but the pistil is a deadly poison. That bottle of medicine was quickly delivered by the nurse to Kim's room. The housekeeper led her subordinates into the room. At the same time, Alex and his father also appeared. It turned out that they had been kidnapped by the housekeeper. Everything happened so suddenly. Everyone had guns pointed at their heads. The housekeeper scolded Meera. "Open your eyes and look. It was they who killed your father, made your life miserable. Even your sister is the daughter of your enemy. If you don't act, I will kill your first love first. I must take revenge for my husband and son." At this moment, everyone woke up. The woman who worked as a nanny was the wife of the man who had been killed by Alex's father. Alex's father didn't want his son to die because of him, so he kept apologizing, saying that it was all his fault, that if she wanted to kill or imprison, she should target him. But at this moment, Porsche said that the woman's husband deserved to die. He barged in and threatened us himself, deliberately seeking death. The woman's anger flared up again. It was clear that they were the ones at fault, but they lived a happy life. Her son had died because of the medicine from Porsche's family. Everyone in this room deserved to die. She wanted to shoot Alex immediately, but Meera stopped her. The housekeeper started to talk to Alex. "Besides your parents, I am the one who gave you a second chance. I taught all that you don't know. Although I used you, I stood by your side during difficult time. Do you really want to hurt me like this? Please, don't betray me. Kill him yourself." Meera still didn't agree. She cried bitterly. While the two women were arguing, Seb stepped forward and said, "I am the cause of all the sins. Meera, kill me, spare them. Everyone, leave here and wait for the result." Kim was terrified. That was her son. Just then, Alex suddenly counterattacked, snatching the gun from the robber. The scene became chaotic. Seeing that she had failed, the woman quickly ran away. Meera chased after her, but Alex pointed the gun at the woman. "We absolutely could have avoided becoming enemies." The woman cried and said that she had saved her many times. But was this how she repaid her? She wanted to kill her for those unworthy people. Not long ago, it was this woman who had killed the bald police chief's son. The wolf was also found by her. She had saved Meera many times. At this moment, she didn't want to say anything more, because Meera said that she didn't want to continue making mistakes. She could only take the opportunity to run away. But when she reached a certain place, suddenly the wind picked up, and all the doors couldn't be opened. She didn't understand what was happening. In the darkness, a light appeared. It was Meera. She led Meera to find the woman. Upon meeting, the two of them pointed their guns at the woman, as if they were the ones in the right. The woman desperately took out a white pill and swallowed it. Ever since her family was broken, she had prepared herself for her death. Although she couldn't kill all of them, this was enough. The trap she set would soon take effect. Poison had been secretly injected into Kim's the fourth drip. She would die just like the woman, foaming at the mouth and dying within minutes. The whole family was heartbroken. Kun lost his wife and immediately ordered his two daughters. "Whoever kills Meera, I will give the entire company to that person. Whoever can't do it, get out of this house." Her father's words made Porsche extremely anxious. She hurriedly called her accomplice, wanting to kill Meera as usual. But this time she couldn't get through. She contacted him online again, but discovered that he had not only stolen her family's data, but also blocked her. At this moment, she realized she had been abandoned and deceived. While she was angry, she received a call from Rose. Rose said that she had killed Meera. From now on, everything in the house belonged to her. Hearing this news, Porsche went crazy. She rushed to Meera's house and saw Meera lying on the ground with gunshot wounds. She couldn't believe it. Why was Meera killed by someone else? She should have been the one to do it. She checked Meera's pulse. There were no signs of life. Even if Meera is dead, it doesn't prove that you killed her. I haven't lost yet. I will kill you the way you killed my foster father. Silently and secretly. Don't even think about taking my inheritance." When she was going crazy, Rose took out a pill and gave it to Meera. It turned out that Meera had taken a fake death pill, and the pill just now made her come back to life. She did this to record evidence of Porsche's crimes. Porsche panicked and recounted everything. Seeing that she had been tricked, Porsche regretted it too late. She knew that Meera had evidence. The police would soon come to arrest her. She could only escape under the protection of her subordinates. But as soon as she returned home, she begged her father for help. "I don't want to die, and I don't want to go to jail. It was all to help you get the datura flower." At this moment, Kun realized that his daughter had actually killed Meera's father. He didn't understand why he had such a vicious child and scolded her. "Why don't you just die?" Saying that, he hit Porsche's head. Porsche stood there dumbfounded. Her father's mouth was full of words of contempt for her. She couldn't take it anymore. So she grabbed a decoration on the table and threw it at his head. Even when she saw him collapse to the ground, she didn't stop but grabbed scissors and cut the artery in his neck. Blood splattered everywhere, but she didn't save him. Instead, she laughed maniacally. Then, she took all the money from the safe to avenge her father's injustice. But it seemed that she had gone crazy. She targeted her brother and niece. Amy's favorite doll was stained with blood. Amy was terrified. She wouldn't let them leave. At the same time, Meera received a strange text message. It was the DNA test result, proving that she was Amy's biological mother. Immediately after, she received another message. "If you want to know where your daughter is, come and meet me. Remember to come alone." Meera was devastated to hear the news. The child was conceived because of Seb's assault, not Alex's. Alex was furious. He blamed Seb for ruining their love and everything good.
But at this moment, Meera only wanted to find her daughter. Seb and Amy were kidnapped by Porsche to a small forest. Seb didn't understand why his sister was treating her own niece like this. But Porsche mocked, "She's not my niece, but the child of a lowly woman." Seeing Meera run over, she said, "Go find your daughter. After all, you're her mother." Saying that, she grabbed Meera's hair and said to Amy, "This is your real mother. Look carefully, or you won't have another chance." Seb couldn't believe it. When did his sister find out about this? Amy cried and asked her father if it was true. The two of them didn't know how to answer. Porsche muttered to herself, "Ever since I killed Tina, I've known that Amy is Meera's biological daughter. What's even more hateful is that even my brother loves Meera. Everyone hates me. I hate all of you. How about I kill your child?" Seb was terrified but was tied up even tighter. Porsche used Amy to threaten Meera to kneel and beg her. But after Meera complied, she still wasn't satisfied. She tied Meera up and started beating her mercilessly. She beat her until Meera's nose bled. Hearing Amy's cries, Meera went crazy and charged at Porsche. Amy was even more frightened. At this time, Rose and Alex also followed Meera's trail to the scene. But Alex's appearance made Porsche feel threatened. She pointed the gun at Amy. "If you dare to come closer, I'll kill her." Seb loved his daughter, so he threw himself in front of the little girl to shield her, and was shot. Seeing her brother fall, Porsche panicked and was restrained by Meera. But because Alex had no weapons, he was shot in the stomach during the struggle and collapsed. Meera again used the datura flower to heal his wounds. But old wounds unhealed, new ones added. She was also seriously injured. Porsche, who was gasping for breath, secretly picked up the gun and tried to shoot Meera. But Alex saved her. He was shot again, and his condition was very critical. He died in Meera's arms. Porsche still wanted to continue her attack when she suddenly saw a woman in a white dress, her whole body glowing. She scolded her, "Why are you so evil? Why won't you repent?" Then, she looked at Meera crying and begging her, and said that she was powerless. "Everyone has their own destiny. I cannot interfere." Meera let go and move on to a new life. It turned out that Maria really existed, not just Meera's imagination. The irony was that Porsche went insane and had to be admitted to a mental hospital. It seemed that she had escaped the punishment of the law, but couldn't escape the prison of her own mind. Kun luckily survived but lost consciousness. His daughter had damaged his arteries and nerves, making him need someone to support him to walk. Rose couldn't say anything but cry. Seb was shot and arrested. Perhaps he would be imprisoned for life. The only thing that tormented him was his young daughter. Everyone was either dead or injured. Only Meera and her daughter lived a happy life. What a bloody movie. The movie ends here. Thank you for watching the video.